Welcome back to In the Know. We are talking about chocolate. If you have any questions for Patrick Hay, local chocolatier and chocolate expert, please do give us a call. Our phone lines are open for the rest of the hour. So before the break, I tried the masala, and that was a milk chocolate. Okay. And what else do we have here?
Now what we have here, we're getting into the single origin. The second one is a darker, it's a 64%. So I like it as, for some people feel if they go 70% is too high. Now, most common bars out there are 70%. That seems to be the magic number. For a lot of people that don't understand what that number represents, if it's going to say 70% on the label, the balance is made up of sugar. So if it's 70% cocoa, then the balance will be 30% sugar.
Okay.
So the higher you go in the cocoa content, the less room there is for any other additives. Let me break down into bars before when we're going to talk about the health benefits. What you have to look at is, if we're talking about 70%, we discussed the type of bean, so we want to know that they're going to use a good bean in the bar. You want to make sure that they're using, you're getting cocoa butter, cocoa liqueur, which gives you the brown part of the chocolate. The cocoa butter is actually the fat, but it's a natural fat from the cocoa bean. What a lot of companies will do in order to bring the price down, they'll remove the cocoa butter and replace it with hydrogenated vegetable oils or vegetable fats or what they call chocolate oils. If you see those things on the label, be aware, it's not really chocolate. Artificial vanillas, vanillin, vanilla flavor, you know they're doing something to sort of bring the quality down.
They're adding something to the natural product.
And what you want to look at on the label is, if it's a dark chocolate, it should be cocoa liqueur, cocoa mass, cocoa solids, it's all the same thing. Cocoa butter, preferably cane sugar, which a lot of companies are starting to use now as opposed to refined white sugars. People are watching those diets. And pure vanilla.
And so this says no chocolate added.
No, that's going to be, that's pure 100%.
100% dark chocolate.
Yes. And on that particular label, they're going to mention it's Corolla bean. And they mention the latitude and longitude. It's a Madagascar bean. So you know, if you understand where the bean's coming from, it's Corolla bean. It's a really good bean. You know the region, and you're getting the flavor.
And a specific person is buying this chocolate.
That's a more, I don't want to say refined palate, but you need to sort of build towards acquiring the taste. And I hate the word acquiring, because we can acquire the taste to eat sand if we want to. We choose not to. But what I find with a lot of people that come in, they start, let's say, with a 70%. We introduce them to, let's say, an 85 or a 90, and they start gradually working towards it. Once they get to the 100, you'll find they're not going back to a milk chocolate. Your palate just can't make that switch. And you appreciate the qualities of the chocolate, and you pick up all the little, again, the nuances that are in there. We mentioned about the single origin chocolate from France, Cluzel. It's a 64% single origin bar. So all the beans are coming from one plantation. If you bite into it, just let it dissolve on the top of your palate and swish it around. It'll start to release its secondary flavors, and that's what you're looking for in chocolate.
I like that.
You may find a fruitiness to it. And each, like say, although companies say like Cluzel or Pralu might produce a dozen different bars from different regions, they're all going to taste slightly different. Like drinking your best wine with your friend. They bring their favorite wine, you like it, they don't appreciate it. They bring theirs. So what we try to do is, by letting people try different chocolates, they find what suits their palate.
This one's richer.
I say a lot less sugar, but still, it's a 64%. So I classify that sort of as a like a semi-sweet chocolate.
Like a semi-sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was single origin. The masala is not single origin?
No, it's a blended bar.
Okay.
And because they're doing what the act of flavoring is basically the concept behind the company. They're going to take a lot of the beans, blend it with a specific flavor, anise, ginger, blueberries, and a lot of things that are happening within chocolate. There's a company called Zotter out of Austria, and unfortunately we weren't able to have it here. It's in shipping as we speak, but they're really sort of taking the flavor of chocolate to extremes by adding things like shiitake mushrooms, olive oils, rosemaries. You pretty well name it, they've got it in chocolate. It might more, for a lot of people, be a curiosity piece. You might want to sort of try it. It might not be something you go back and buy repeatedly.
Right. More of a novelty item.
Exactly. Or for specific tastes. If you really like, you know, the rosemary, the olives, and the basils in your chocolate, and that combination works for you, then it's an interesting combination. Someone might, I don't like that idea.
Right. Okay, what's this chocolate here?
Darker? This is darker. We're going to 75%, and that's Pralu, and they stick to 75, 80, and 100. They don't like to do milk chocolates. They feel it's not really benefiting the chocolate. Again, single origin, single plantation. You've cut out, again, they're using cane sugar, pure vanilla, and that's all you're going to get in the chocolate.
Ooh, and that's heavier.
It's a heavier, it's a thicker bar, and what you want also too with your chocolate, the snap. If it doesn't snap, if it bends or it breaks or it folds, it's not been tempered properly. And temper it's realigning the crystals. If anyone's ever made chocolate at home and they're whipping things together and it comes out all streaky or bends, it's because the beta crystals that are in chocolate all have to line up at precise temperatures. And you can buy compounds. A lot of people buy like something like a Merkins, which is an artificial chocolate that you can just melt and shape. But real chocolate has to go through a process to get that nice snap and a nice sheen.
Patrick, I think I'm going to be a chocolate snob because I like the masala, but then I liked this one better, and now I like this one the best.
It's the flavors.
Does that make me a chocolate snob?
I think I am a chocolate snob because when you don't know different and when you haven't experienced it, then you have nothing to base it on. Once you start trying things, then everything sort of becomes your benchmark. And for me, I've been using the Pralu for a number of years as my benchmark. There might be more expensive chocolate as good as the Pralu. There might be cheaper chocolate. It's not packaged as well. So you want to make sure that when people come in, or if you're buying chocolate anywhere, read your labels. Don't go by price. Look at the label, look at the ingredients, taste it. And that's the key. You have to taste it. Do I like this chocolate? How does it feel on my palate? Is it oily? Is it waxy? Is it sugary? Those things shouldn't be there. It should be very clean. If you like lick the inside of your palate right now, it's not oily, it's not waxy.
No.
What cocoa butter is used in the cosmetic industry. So a lot of big manufacturers, they'll take it out, they'll replace it with hydrogenated vegetable oils, and sell the cocoa butter for making lipsticks and it makes fabulous.
Hand creams.
Because the melting point is 37 degrees, so it blends beautiful with a body temperature. It's not greasy, it's not oily. So it makes, like I say, wonderful makeups.
So of the three of these chocolates, which one is the best one for us?
Going the darker, the better. So the 75% getting into the Pralu, because you've eliminated 75% of your sugar. So those even who are diabetic, and even like we get people from the diabetic clinic looking for good dark chocolate, and we try to sort of get them into at least the 75% or higher. Again, you've only got 25% sugar, and if you're using cane sugar, it's actually better for you.
Okay, and just briefly, we'll touch on it after the break, but what about white chocolate? Where does white chocolate fit in here?
White chocolate, there's a misconception about that. It can still be classified as chocolate, providing that it still has the cocoa butter. And what a lot of companies will do is they'll take out the cocoa butter, they'll take out the cocoa liqueur, so all you have is sugar and vegetable oil. So really, it's a Vegelate bar. It's not a chocolate bar. But there are really good, creamy white chocolate bars out there, and we carry some in the store as well. And for those who like white chocolate, it's equivalent to a milk chocolate. It's just it doesn't have the cocoa liqueur that gives it that nice brown, rich color.
Okay, excellent. We're going to take a short break. We're going to talk about the latest trends in chocolate and how sometimes consumers might be tricked
A little bit
about chocolate when we come back here on In the Know. Place your calls. We're here for the whole hour.